Hello and welcome. I'm Ursula, a sports physiotherapist at HFRC. This is the video that tells you everything you need to know on how to prevent and manage back pain. It's also a follow-up on the event we had last Saturday at the book launch. My book is called Back Pain Goodbye. So we had a full house at HFRC and we got many good questions from the crowd. Some of the questions were like, I had a femur fracture, since then I have more back pain. Why do I have more back pain since that femur fracture? What has that have to do with the femur fracture? Another person asked, I am suffering from back pain. How do I get the right diagnosis? In other words, who do I have to see to figure out what's wrong with me? Then somebody else asked, I have back pain after sitting. What is the right posture? It's another picture of the crowd last Saturday, so thanks all for coming. That was a really great event. Thank you very much also for all those people who are interested in the book and the course we are running. That was really excellent. Another person asked, I have had back pain since ages and tried everything. Is there hope? And of course there is, because the way I put the book together, that's all research-based parts. And as far as I know, nobody ever put all those parts together. So it's about stress and pain management. It's about learning new ways to move, where we use Feldenkrais. It's about retraining daily activity. Endurance, strength, core strength, flexibility and balance. So all these 7 parts are research based, but nobody yet has put it together like that as far as I know. And then the last questions I put in here. I got more questions than that, so I'm gonna put more videos out where I'm answering more questions. But for now, that's the questions that should be answered in this video here. What exercises should I do for my back pain? At the end of this video, you're going to learn 3 simple exercises that you can easily do at home and will help you to ease your back pain instantly. So, what led me to do this seminar and actually write my book? Over the 25 years I've been a physio, I've seen many back pain sufferers, and many of them didn't really know what to do about back pain, and some of them unfortunately even had some surgery done without seeing a physio before. So there needs to be more knowledge out there. And back pain can be really very frightening. I had several clients who felt like their back was so sore and so painful, it feels like breaking, so they thought like, actually they need probably surgery. So it can be really frightening. And then what probably the main thing is why I'm so passionate about back pain is I personally suffered from back pain after a motorbike accident. So long story short, I was walking on crutches because my knee was injured and I lost all my back muscles and started then to have back pain, and saw an expert that took an x-ray and said, look Ursula, although you're only just 23 years old, you do have early osteoarthritis, just don't move too much, don't lift too much, don't do too much exercise and so on. And as I know now, I'm now a physio, I was just a massage therapist then, I go worse from that. And so I saw the next expert who told me exactly the same thing, and I followed exactly all their instructions. Finally I was so deconditioned, so lost so much muscle strength and endurance, I could hardly walk 200 meters without having pain. But I didn't give up, so I went to the next person, then to next one, and finally ended up that one doctor actually told me and said, look Ursula, you don't have any back muscles anymore. Just look in the mirror, so face the facts and look in the mirror and just see that you don't have any back muscles anymore. And that was the start for me to recover, so actually facing the fact and see, okay, yes, that's right, I don't have any back muscles anymore. And if you don't have any back muscles anymore, what holds you back together? Nothing, obviously. So I then started to try and error to figure out what exercise that would actually work for me. And it was quite a lengthy process, although then I started studying physio, but As a physio student, you just learn basic stuff, and it took me quite a while to actually figure out a concept that worked for myself. And after graduating in '94 in Switzerland with a diploma in physiotherapy, I thought, like, I need to know more. You know, you learn just basics when you graduate after 4 years. I need to know more about how those joints work and everything together. So I did a manual therapy education from Soye, which when you learn all the biomechanics and details on how the back works, but also all the other joints and passive treatments, that gets you, you know, a bit further again. But then I thought, like, okay, now we regained that range of motion, but there needs to be more than the basic strengthening exercises you can do. So then I did the sports physical therapist, where we learned to assess people for all walks of lives and just see, like, okay, where are they at the moment and where do they want to go. So it can be just, you know, somebody who does want to do gardening or housework or things like that, but I also treated professional basketball players and dancers and so on. So this gave me the skills to build up programs and to build up people's muscles and help them to get wherever they want to go. Then 12 years ago I immigrated to Australia, and I did also my master's in sports physiotherapy here, and now just recently I wrote my book. So the interesting is that Monash University released a statement in March last year that low back pain is a major health burden globally, nothing new about that, that the current use of x-rays, scans, opiates, injections and surgical investigation and treatments are useless, unnecessary and harmful. So if what we've done so far is useless, unnecessary and harmful, what should we do? There is light at the end of the tunnel. You are not alone. Low back pain is the most common musculoskeletal condition. Low back pain has been a major public health burden worldwide. Back problems are the third leading cause of disease burden in Australia. But what actually helps to come out of that back pain is exercise, for example. There's good evidence that exercise is effective in reducing pain and disability. That's why exercise is an important part of my back pain program. Solution-focused therapies is also shown to have effect in people living with chronic pain. Then cognitive behavior therapy is proven to have effect, and education. So a big part of my program is the cognitive behavior therapy, a little bit different than it's probably the classic one. We use it more through Feldenkrais exercises to connect into the body, to get that mind-body connection again. Education is the key. You know, when I was 23 years old and somebody would have told me about this program, I would have given you anything to sign up for this program, or buying a book that actually tells you step by step what to do to regain your health and reclaim your strength and everything. So discover your solution. Break through to success, change your life, and start with it today. Reclaim your health, get your joy, freedom, and energy back to a fulfilled life. And you're going to learn this all today in 5 easy steps. Less pain, more living. So 5 easy steps to reclaim your health. The first one we're going to go through is just to understand a little bit on how the back works, the biomechanics of the back. The second one, the difference between normal healing and the chronic pain loop. In other words, also how to actually avoid to go in the chronic pain loop and what to do about it to get out of it. How exercise can improve your health and well-being. And the question is, I linked that together, 3 and the 4, are you active enough? How active should we actually be to have a healthy lifestyle and to prevent back pain? And step 5, those 3 basic exercises you can be doing right here today to ease your back pain. Okay, so when you're watching this video, I encourage you also to just stand up and move a little bit around, so you're not getting stiff in your back. So just change your positions on a regular basis, so you're not watching a webinar about back pain and then ending up with more back pain at the end. So understanding how the back works, just when you have this plastic model on the left, this plastic spine. So he actually has quite a flat spine. We're going to go through those curves just to know about the terminology a bit. Obviously you see the base of the skull on the top. Then we have the cervical spine, which is curved, supposed to be curved forward. So he has quite a flat one there. So curving forward is what we call a lordosis. Then the thoracic spine, where the ribs are, that's supposed to curve backwards. So that's a kyphosis. He has a little one there, but like I said before, his back is fairly flat. And then we have the lumbar spine, lordosis, going forward. So we all have a bit of different alignment in our spines. That's not actually meaning it's good or bad. It's just the way we are. We are all made a bit differently. But this S-curve is actually what we call the neutral spine, or when I say a straight spine, we don't actually mean straight like a stick. We mean, as a physio, we mean straight in this S-curve. So that's a neutral, or some say a straight spine is probably the wrong expression to say a straight spine. Neutral is better. So neutral is this S-curve, and this S-curve is really important because it has like this springy function. So when you're walking or running, your brain gets less impact because it squeezes the spine together and expanding it again. So let's have a closer look at the lumbar spine. So obviously you have the pelvis, you have the sacrum there. My hand is like on your bottom on there. So we have the yellow things that come out between the bones are the nerves. Then we have the vertebral body in the front. We have the intervertebral disc in the front. And where I'm pointing are the facet joints. So we have two joints, two facet joints on each level and one disc. So it's like a tripod. So two really strong bony connections. So the facet joints, the whole bone at the back is actually hard like steel. That's really, really strong bone. And then in the front we have the vertebral body themselves are not so strong bone, and the intervertebral disc. So when you are in this neutral, which we were talking about before, this S-curve position, you have 1/3 of weight on each of those three legs. So 1/3 on each of those facet joints and 1/3 on the disc. So in other words, it's like a tripod. So 2/3 is on the back of the spine and 1/3 is on the disc. Now what's happening when you're actually moving? So when you're bending forward, like if you wanted to touch your toes or you tie up your shoelaces or something like that, then you're bending forward, then your facet joints are coming apart. Obviously not as much as this model does, because you have ligaments around it and muscles that keep it closer together. Then you have more load on your disc. And when you move backwards, so leaning backwards in sitting or standing, then you are reducing the load on your disc in the front there, and you are enhancing the disc, enhancing the load on your facet joints. So it's a normal, that's all normal movement. So we do need that movement. So it's like when you're bending and extending your elbow, it's also changing the movement in your joints. And this movement, actually all the movements in the facet joints are training those little muscles that are controlling your facet joints as well. So that's just a glimpse of how the back works, but just understanding a bit how that movement is important and to help you to get better. Now, what's the difference between normal healing and the chronic pain loop? So the normal healing process, let's learn it with a little story. Let's call him Paul. Paul has a big garden, but the weather has been really bad, so he wasn't in the garden for a long period of time, and now this Saturday is coming and he decides, this is the day I want to go back to the garden. Now, he's quite a well-trained guy. He goes 2 or 3 times a week to the gym, goes regularly running, but he has a sedentary job. But he's not really used to do gardening all day long, because what are you doing? You know, when you're gardening and weeding and so on, you're on your knees, you're bending forward down. So when I say he's running regularly, so running obviously is in an upright position moving forward, so that uses his back differently. And also he's sitting with his job, so generally he's not really used to move 8-9 hours a day. And even though he's quite well trained with going to the gym, he may not be trained to actually bend for an 8 or 9 hour stay. So he decides, however, he's not aware of all these explanations I just gave you. So he decides that today is the day, and he goes to the garden, and there's plenty of weed because he hasn't been doing gardening for a while. So now all day long he's in the garden and doing his weeding. After that he feels quite exhausted and tired, and so that's Saturday night. He probably doesn't sleep too well until Sunday because everything is a bit stiff and sore. Sunday he probably feels even stiffer, and by Monday he really feels stiff and doesn't really know what to do, but he's really smart. He's going to see his physio. So what's the problem he has? So because he was in the garden much longer than his muscles are trained for, he has sore muscles. So this is now thought to be an inflammation process. So sore muscles, if you have ever been walking downhill a mountain, that gives you quite sore muscles as well. Usually not straight away, but the day after or even 2 days after, you can be really sore. So it takes a little while for the inflammation to build up in the muscles and then also to reduce again. So he sees a physio straight away, and the physio is assessing him and hearing and listening to the story as well, and then deciding that it's a good chance that he has really sore muscles, and because of this muscle stiffness he has reduced mobility in his joints, in his facet joints as well. So he probably gets some mobilization on his back, and he gets some massage on techniques and exercises to regain that full range of motion in his lower back. Usually in a case like Paul, who's fairly well trained, we expect him to be back to normal movement within 7 to 10 days or latest in 3 weeks. And that's usually when you have back to normal range of motion, is usually when there is no pain anymore. However, after that there would still be a next step. So most people actually don't see me anymore when they don't have any pain anymore. They just think they're good to go back to whatever they did before, and that's already a bit of a risk to re-injure themselves, because the next step is to retrain. So we would then need to retrain Paul's muscles to be able to actually work in full range again. So obviously that whole bending he did while he did gardening, and I would give him some specific exercises to build himself up to do gardening for longer, but also I would educate him that he needs to pace himself. So instead of doing this 8-hour gardening with not having done any kind of movement like that for months before, I would say, like, look, start with an hour in the morning, then go for a walk and do something else. So it's, as we learned before, walking is upright, or even go for a run, you know, like do something different which your body is actually used to, and then do another hour in the afternoon. So you can pace yourself doing those things. And then there would be specific trainings. In his case, we would train him back to actually be able to run. After an acute back pain, you have to retrain that a bit, so your muscles are reacting fast enough so that proprioception and strength and that all the alignment is good to get him back to running. So in other words, a normal healing process is an injury, and then at the end we have a complete healed person back to do whatever they want to do. Okay, now what's different with the chronic pain loop? Why is the chronic pain loop starting? Now let's start with Paul again. So he went to the garden, the whole process, you know the deal. But then on Monday, instead of going to see a physio, he decides it's much better to lie down and rest. And his friend tell him so, and you know, he thinks that's the right thing to do, and he may even get some painkillers to just help him to rest easier. And as we have learned, you know, resting for a week already wastes your muscle strength by 15 to 30%. So the longer you rest, the more stiff you get. So he has reduced mobility, reduced muscle function, reduced endurance and strength. And then after a week, most people have to go back to work. So he goes back to work and thinks, okay, he can also go back running, because obviously he's back to work, so he can go back running and go back to the gym, without actually having that awareness that he is by far not at the stage where he actually suffered from the injury. And then he overuses his structures, so his muscles and his ligaments and so on, and causes more injury. That was step 5. Now let's go. What's happening? Okay, now by then he then starts learning that certain movements are causing pain. So usually the brain is really fast in linking pain together with pain, fear, avoidance. In his case, it could be that he just avoids gardening. Maybe just subconsciously. He may not even make a conscious decision to not do it anymore. He just may not bother about the weed or get a gardener in to do it. So this is pain, fear, avoidance, not doing what he did before. And then he further reduces his mobility, movement. He probably thinks or feels that it's painful to run, so he's not going for a run anymore. And also the gym may not really help, doesn't it? Because he doesn't actually know what to do with it. So he reduces his social life, his ability to work reduces, and he feels a bit anxious and depressed. So that's the normal chronic pain loop. What unfortunately too many times happens. That's why I'm so keen to get that knowledge out there. Please share this webinar with other people, just that we can avoid people to get in that chronic pain loop. So what's the solution to get out of that, to reclaim your health, or to help your friends to reclaim your health if they are suffering from back pain? So education is the start. As we have heard before, it's a research based, that education really helps, and that's part of why I'm doing these webinars and this teaching, and where I wrote my book, to educate you. And then education, the more you know what to do, the more you know how the back works and so on, that changes your mind and it changes your behavior. And from there, you're going to start regular exercises, and the more you do exercise, you get fitter, stronger, you're more flexible, and you just feel better in your own body and your soul. So that's the solution to get your life back. Now, how much exercise should we actually do to be healthy, and how can exercise help us to improve our well-being? So a big problem what we have in our society is inactivity. So inactivity is actually the biggest killer. It does kill us. So it kills more people than smoking and obesity kills together. The problem is that our society is more and more inactive. So sitting in front of computers, having sedentary jobs, sitting in front of TV and so on. And because of that, we are suffering many more chronic diseases. So SEDS, meaning sedentary death disease, meaning having illnesses and diseases from sitting around. There are actually 23 conditions. Here are just a few of them: breast cancer, depression, chronic back pain, spinal cord injury, debilitating illnesses, broken bones, hip and spine problems. So yes, so inactivity obviously kills us. Too old to do exercise? That's an excuse I often hear. You know, I'm over 50 or over 60, whatever I hear. So this one is a study from 100 nursing home residents with an average age of 87.1 years old. They trained, so obviously they're not so fit, because otherwise they wouldn't be in a nursing home. Okay, so their conditioning is quite low, probably much lower than yours is. And they trained for 10 weeks with high intensity resistance exercises. Interesting, isn't it? Even those older people were able to do high intensity resistance exercises. And what was the result after 10 weeks? They gained 11.3% muscle strength, 11.8% increased walking speed, so they may be able to cross the road as long as it's green. And they improved stair climbing by nearly 30%. So some of them may be able to actually go back home, live in their own home, keep their independence. How about that, going to a nursing home just for rehab and then go back home? Wouldn't that be great? Benefits of regular exercises: obviously reduced pain, regaining or keeping your independence, as we mentioned before, higher function of your immune system. That's why it is helping against cancer. Obviously, in my case, as you have learned, it's not that the more exercise you do, you get a clean sleeve and you're never going to have any of those problems, but it just reduces your risks to have those problems. And obviously, the higher your immune system works, it can work against cancer, viruses, and bacterial infection. And you have reduced fat in your body, and also specifically reduced fat around your inner organs. Some people sometimes look a bit obese from the outside, but if they do regular exercises, they're actually burning the fat around their inner organs. So they're much healthier than some of the lean people who look clean from the outside, but then don't do any exercise and then have this fat around the inner organs. So it's a bit hard from the outside to see how fit somebody really is. Obviously, living a long, happy, healthy life, better sleep quality. Now, about the sleep quality, if you do suffer from poor sleep, go for a brisk walk. Not for a run, but just go for a walk where you start sweating a bit when you have to breathe a bit heavier after dinner for about 20 minutes, half an hour probably max. Then have a shower, settle down for another half an hour, and then go to bed. Really, the brisk walking and the little sweat helps you to get rid of all the adrenaline, the accumulated stress from the day. So that helps you to sleep better. Of course, exercise helps you to have better flexibility, increased strength, enhances your cardiovascular fitness, meaning your heart and your lungs are working better. So well-trained people, their heart gets stronger, and then with one beat they actually getting more blood into the system than people that are untrained, and with it the whole oxygen flows better to your brain as well, and it enhances your cognitive function and reduces depression and anxiety. With the depression, it's just 10 minutes walking outside and breathing and moving, and probably get a little bit of a sweat, so just that you have to breathe a bit heavier. It's reducing depression. Isn't that great? So it doesn't actually take much to change your life to the better. So the question is, the national guidelines are asking us, are you active enough? So how much exercise would we need to do to just keep and maintain our level of health? So from an endurance, so cardiovascular point of view, we would need to do 30 minutes brisk walking 5 times per week, or 20 minutes running 2 times per week. Or I actually recommend the combination of the both of them, so going brisk walking for 30 minutes twice a week and go for a run twice a week for 20 minutes. That's the ideal combination they talk of. And then they say that's one thing, cardiovascular fitness, but you need to do some strength training. So at least twice a week you should go to the gym and train your muscles. And that's just to keep healthy. Now, if you want to promote your health, if you want to go better than you are at the moment, if you want to enhance your fitness level, then you would need to do more than that. I like this picture. This is actually provided from the US Department of Health and Human Services, so you can find that online as well. It's about the activity of daily living which we should actually have just to stay healthy. So if you are looking at the blue bar below, the everyday activities and doing it as much as possible, from taking stairs, walking instead of driving. So in Switzerland, where I'm from, we actually walk quite a bit, much more to the shops and so on than we are used to here in Australia. And as much as I hear from the US, is also a little bit the problem that people take the car much too often, and also walk your dog and stroll in the park and so on. So just general movement. Research talks about 8 to 9 hours a day we should move, just to keep our cartilage and our ligaments and everything happy and healthy. Now, then we have the bar above, the green one. 3 to 5 times a week we should go, like we learned before, for that brisk walking or running and stuff like that. So cardiovascular activity that is getting you a little bit of a sweat, that gets your heart rate up and trains your heart and lung system. And then twice a week going to the gym. That was in the previous recommendations as well. Doing some lifting weights, doing some stretches, yoga and so on. And the smallest part of our daily living activity should be sitting in front of computer and spending time in front of the TV. Now you just reflect on your own life. You know, instead of watching TV, go for a walk. You obviously don't want to go for hours of walk if you're completely untrained, but you know, go for a 10 minutes walk, or get a bike that you can sit on the bike while you are watching TV. Wouldn't that be great to do both at the same time? So that's part of why our society is suffering this sedentary death disease, these chronic diseases, because we are just not active enough. Now let's come back to those 5 steps, so you know now, and you can compare if you're active enough or not, and do those 3 basic exercises that you can do right here, right now. So what's important when you do want to do exercise, especially if you haven't been doing much exercise for a while, then you make sure that you do it gently and effortless. So you don't want to force anything, so you don't want to force yourself moving into pain. Start with a small range of motion. As we learned earlier in the webinar, you want to move around that neutral of the spine. And do it really gently, about 15 times, then rest for about 2 minutes, and then do it again. So some of my exercises you're going to learn just now, those 3, that you can actually do them more than 15 repetitions, but that's just a general guideline for exercises. So you choose the 2 or 3 exercises that work best for you. So in the book there are plenty of more exercises than you're going to learn here right now, and they are also explaining you how to gradually progress the exercises, so where you're starting off and then guiding you through the 12 weeks on where you're ending up at the end. So let's start with the first one. So I have been standing now to talk to you. Now let me get my chair. You want to sit in the front of the chair. Then your heels should be under your knees, so you push your heels into the ground. That really helps you to activate your leg muscles and your buttock muscles. So you may want to activate your pelvic floor, draw your tummy in. Just imagine that you have a string pulling you along on the back of your neck. So you should have more like a double chin. And then push your hands against your legs, bring your shoulder blades together and push them down. So you should actually feel like more or less all the muscles in your body are active, and you want to hold them for 10 seconds while you keep on breathing, and then after those 10 seconds you relax. So what most of the time happens when I do that in my groups, then people have really good posture at the end, and then when I say relax, they just sink together and slouch again. Okay, let's do that again. And now next time at the end you want to relax your muscles as much as you can, but you want to keep that ideal posture. So that's actually your neutral posture you're gaining with that. Okay, so push your heels in the ground. Activate your leg muscles, your buttock, your pelvic floor, your tummy in. Imagine that string on your neck, your double chin, make your spine as long as you can. Push your hands against your legs, your shoulder blades back together. I'm doing it at the same time, that's why I'm breathing a bit heavier. Hold this position for 10 seconds now. I was talking with probably 5 seconds, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now gradually start reducing the tension in your muscles while you're keeping that ideal neutral posture. So that is your neutral posture. So most of my clients tell me they do it about 3 or 4 times in a row, like that, like we just did twice, and then they do it several times a day. And it's much easier then to have a good posture when you're sitting. And that's also the starting position for the next 2 exercises. So when you're sitting now like that, you want to place your hands probably on your pelvis like it's in a picture here, and then you gently just roll your pelvis forward and back. The movement doesn't have to be as big as you see in the picture. Obviously, that the picture shows something, I had to make the biggest movement I can. But especially if that is a new exercise for you, you want to really do it really gently and effortless. So it's rolling on your sit bones forward and back. So when you're moving forward, like on the left, your tummy comes out and your back moves forward, and then on the right, your tummy goes in and you're tilting your back backwards. But you don't want to actually activate all those core muscles as much as possible. You want to activate them as little as possible. So it should feel really more like an effortless rolling forward and back. And again, you don't want to go into pain or strain. Usually that's a really good exercise. When I struggled to when I was training, let's say it this way, to walk longer, this was one of my exercises. So fortunately, where I trained myself up to walk longer distances, there were many benches along the way. So I was walking until I felt a little bit stiffness in my lower back. Then I will sit down on the bench and just do that rolling. Just loosen my back up again. Good. And the next one is sitting upright like you are, what you did before. You can cross your arms like you see on the picture, or you can place your hands on the sternum in the front. Fix your eyes straight forward, so your head actually stays still, and then you rotate your spine right, left, right, left. So the speed, if I'm doing the same thing now, it would be like left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. So it's quite fast, and usually it's easier if it's a bit faster. If it's too slow, then we tend to stiffen up a bit. Oh, sorry about that. So, and then you do want to do that for about 2-3 minutes. And most clients tell me that you feel it's getting warm along the spine. So it really actually helps you for low back pain, thoracic back, or for neck pain. Just all those 3 actually exercises help for all kind of back pains, just to get that better posture happening. Those muscles, as we learned a bit earlier on, if in the neutral position you have the 2/3 of the weight on the back of the spine, so on those 2 facet joints, and 1/3 of the disc, and that's the optimal position to retrain your back muscles to get that strongness back, and also the endurance back to be in this good posture. Okay, now let's recap. You understand how the back works, just to understand the basic of the biomechanics. That's really great. Then you understand the difference between normal healing and the chronic pain loop. You know how much exercise you actually need to do just to be healthy and well, and you learned those 3 basic exercises you can do right here, right now, to improve your well-being. So after learning all that, I like to offer you a special program from My Back and Beyond, the support program to the book. You're going to get a step-by-step instruction on how to implement this strategy. This will empower you for the breakthrough you have been waiting for. Develop independence, improve your life and reclaim your health, gain control and live the life you have always wanted. This program, and also the book, includes 7 research-based parts, so each of them is proven to help to reduce back pain. Step 1 is stress management. Then 2 new ways to move, so specific Feldenkrais exercises to enhance your lower back movement and to reduce your back pain. Retraining activity of daily living. 4 endurance or cardiovascular fitness and walking. 5 strength, how to do strength exercises. 6 flexibility and 7 balance and coordination. So research shows that just after 6 weeks of exercise, and just exercise alone, not this package of the 7 different parts, is reducing pain by 25%, increases energy levels by 35%, improves well-being by 20%, significant increase in core strength. So the program we're going to start on the 25th of June, the 8 weeks program, is mainly going to be 60 minutes in small groups, meaning we have between 6 to maximum 8 participants. And it's every Tuesday evening from 5:30 onwards. That alone has already a value of about $560. Plus, I want to reward you. If you're already made up your mind, then you'll be happy to hear that you get these awesome bonuses as well. Bonus 1, you get the book with it, as we're going to use this book actually as the base for the program. It's your manual for the program, and I'm going to give you access to the full online program as well. So the online program itself is sold for about 500 Australian dollars, but I can understand that sometimes you're probably missing an evening or so. Then you can just catch up on the online program, and also there are videos of all the exercises that we are going to learn in the face-to-face program. They are online on this program as well. So if you don't remember how the exercises go, you can go online and you have videos of all the exercises there as well. Okay, so you have this 8 weeks face-to-face small group, maximum 8 people. Then we have the online exercise class as well, so all together you get a value of $1,090. And just remember that just doing exercise for 6 weeks, you're going to reduce pain, increase energy levels, and get much better in just 6 weeks. So we're going to do 8 weeks program, and we do much more than just exercise. You're going to learn many more tricks along the way. They're all research based to help you to reduce your back pain and enhance your well-being. So the value of the course is $1,090, but we're going to make a special offer for those people who are really willing to put all the efforts in and do the exercises and follow the program and want to attend as much as they can on a weekly basis. We give them a special price for only $495. It's important though that you book as soon as possible, because we only have, I think, 1 or 2 spots left for next week, and then we don't know yet when we're going to start again the next course. So if you are interested in the course, I cannot guarantee the price for the course after. The course after is much likely to be more expensive than this one is. So if you do want to come in, you have to book ASAP, and if you not making it into this class, just give us your address and your details so we know that we have to contact you as soon as we are starting the next one. Thanks a lot and have a good day. Bye bye.